The sky above Velmara turned dark, not from clouds, but from fear. The planet was peaceful, full of forests, rivers, and floating cities. The Velmarans were kind, soft beings with big eyes and smooth silver skin. They had lived in peace for thousands of years. They didn't know war, they didn't need weapons, but everything changed the day their moon cracked open. It started as a strange sound, deep, low, like a growl coming from space. Then the moon, large and beautiful, shook violently. A long crack formed across its surface, glowing red from inside. The scientists looked at each other, terrified. Something was moving under the surface of the moon. Something alive. Something old. The leaders of Velmara sent out an SOS, a signal across the stars. Their message was simple. Please help. Something is waking inside our moon. We are not strong. We are not ready. Please, someone, come. They waited. For days, no one answered. The crack on the moon grew wider. Strange black clouds formed above it. Night came early. Plants began to die. Animals ran in circles like they were trying to escape something invisible. The Velmarans gathered in fear. They watched the skies. They hoped someone good would come. Maybe the Alliance. Maybe a kind, alien race with warm smiles and soft voices. But then, something did come. And it was not what they expected. It appeared without warning, a large black ship, silent and damaged. It floated through their atmosphere like a ghost. It didn't have markings. It didn't speak. It just came, closer and closer until it hovered over the capital city. The Velmaran defense ships flew toward it, scanning and calling out, "Identify yourself! Who are you?" But there was no answer. The ship stopped above a wide-open field just outside the city. A door opened slowly from its side. Smoke came out first, then a figure appeared. He was tall, covered in thick black armor. His steps were heavy. His helmet had no face, just a black mirror. He walked forward alone, slowly, like he wasn't afraid of anything. The Velmarans watched from behind buildings and walls. Some aimed weapons at him, shaking in fear. He stopped in the center of the field and raised one hand. "You called," he said in a deep voice. "I came." The voice was strong but calm. The Velmaran guards didn't move. They didn't know what to do. This creature was not like them. His body gave off heat, like a small sun. His armor had burn marks, bullet holes, and deep scratches. It looked like he had survived 100 battles. One brave scientist named Riva stepped forward and asked, "Who are you?" The man tilted his head. Then he spoke again. "Deathworlder." The word echoed through the city like thunder. Everyone knew what that meant. Deathworlders were humans, but not the soft ones who lived in cities and studied stars. These were the others, the dangerous ones, the ones who came from the roughest planet in the known galaxy, Earth, a world full of volcanoes, storms, ice, fire, and monsters, a world where only the strong survived. The Velmarans didn't want a killer. They wanted help. But this man, this Deathworlder, didn't ask permission. He walked past the guards and headed straight toward the science building. His boots left, deep marks in the ground. Inside, he looked at the monitors showing the moon crack. "You're already too late," he said, his voice low. Riva stepped beside him, her hands shaking. "Too late for what?" He pointed at the crack. "That thing is not natural. It was placed inside your moon long ago, and it is waking up." Another scientist laughed nervously. "You're joking. It's just pressure. An underground quake." The Deathworlder turned his head slowly toward him. "I've seen it before." He opened a small bag and pulled out a piece of metal. It was old, rusted and covered in symbols. He placed it on the table. The scientists scanned it and gasped. It was from a human war 10,000 years ago. The same pattern, the same moon crack, the same warning. Riva asked in a soft voice, "What is it?" The Deathworlder looked at the moon on the screen. "It's a weapon," he said, "but not one we made. We found it. We fought it. We locked it away. Inside your moon." Silence filled the room. No one spoke. Then the ground shook. A deep rumble rolled through the city. The lights flickered. Everyone looked up. The moon cracked again. This time, a long black object pushed out from inside. It looked like a claw or a tentacle. People screamed. Children cried. The Deathworlder didn't move. One of the guards shouted, "What is that?" The Deathworlder looked at the sky. Then he whispered, almost to himself, "It's awake!" The Velmarons ran outside. Panic filled the city. They looked up at the moon and saw the dark shape moving. The tentacle stretched toward the stars. It was slow, heavy, but full of power. The clouds above it turned red. In the chaos, the Deathworlder stood alone, calm, cold, ready. One soldier asked him, "Can you stop it?" He didn't answer right away. Then he turned and said, "I didn't come to stop it. I came to finish what we started." And with that, he walked into the night, toward the heart of the city, toward the monster waking in the sky. The Velmarons didn't know it yet, but their future now rested in the hands of a man from a world built for death. The next morning, Velmara was not the same. The sky was red. The air felt thick. People stayed inside their homes, watching the news with wide, scared eyes. The giant black tentacle still moved slowly out of the moon, like it was stretching after a long sleep. Nobody knew what it was. Nobody knew what it wanted. But the Deathworlder did. He stood at the edge of the city, watching the skies. His name was Joran, though he didn't tell anyone that yet. He wasn't there to make friends. He wasn't there to explain things. He was there to do what needed to be done. Inside the science tower, Riva watched the moon closely. She was tired but didn't sleep. She kept looking at the old metal plate the Deathworlder had brought. She tried to understand the symbols. They looked like warnings, full of danger and history. She looked at her assistant and said, "He knew. He knew this would happen." Her assistant replied, "But how? How did he know something was inside our moon?" Before Riva could answer, the building lights went dark. A deep sound, like a heartbeat, filled the air. Boom! 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 Riva ran to the window. A black mist was spreading across the city. Fast. People screamed. Some dropped to the ground. Others ran in circles, coughing and choking. The mist was alive. It moved like a snake, finding the weak. Guards rushed outside, firing small blasters at the mist. But the shots did nothing. The black fog swallowed everything in its path. Even light disappeared inside it. That's when the Deathworlder returned. He walked through the mist like it wasn't even there. His armor glowed red from the inside, pushing the darkness away. In his hands, he held a large weapon. It wasn't smooth or shiny. It looked old, heavy, dangerous. Joran stepped into the science tower and looked at Riva. "It started faster than I thought," he said. Riva coughed and covered her mouth. "What is that mist?" "It's part of it," Joran said. "The thing in your moon is not just a monster. It's a machine and a mind. It can think. It can control matter. That mist is how it spreads." Riva felt cold. Why would someone build something like that? "They didn't build it," Joran said. "They found it. Just like I did. Long ago, a race of ancient warriors found the same creature on another world. They couldn't kill it, so they sealed it inside your moon and erased all records of it." Riva looked at the sky. "Why here? Why our moon?" "Because your planet is peaceful," Joran said. No war, no weapons. A good place to hide something terrible. No one would think to look here. Suddenly, a loud alarm filled the air. The main power station in the city was under attack. The black mist had reached it. Without a word, Joran turned and walked outside. He moved fast now, like a soldier ready for war. Riva followed him, still afraid, but curious. She wanted to understand. She wanted to help. They reached the power station. Half of it was already covered in black vines. The machines inside sparked and exploded. 3 guards were down, trapped inside the black fog. Joran didn't wait. He pulled a small box from his belt and threw it into the mist. It clicked once, then exploded with a loud whoosh. A shockwave blasted the fog back, clearing the area for a few seconds. He ran in and pulled one of the guards out. His hands moved fast, like he had done this before. Riva and the others helped pull the other 2 to safety. When they were safe, Riva looked at Joran and said, "You came alone. Why? Why didn't your people come?" Joran looked up at the moon, now showing more than just a tentacle. A dark shape was forming, a body, a face. It was waking up, and it was angry. "My people are gone," he said quietly. "They tried to fight this thing a long time ago. Most died, some disappeared. I'm the only one left." Riva was shocked. "Then why would you come back?" He turned to her and removed his helmet. His face was scarred. One eye was metal. His expression was cold but not cruel. "Because we made a mistake. We didn't destroy it. We buried it. And now your people will pay the price." Riva whispered, "Then help us stop it." Joran looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded once. "We don't have much time," he said. "Once that thing wakes fully, it will spread across the galaxy. It doesn't want to rule. It wants silence. No voices. No life." Riva stood taller. "Then tell us what to do." Joran placed his helmet back on and looked toward the rising shape above the moon. "We fight," he said. "And this time, we don't run." As the sun disappeared behind the growing shadow in the sky, the people of Velmara realized the truth. They were no longer just watchers. They were now part of a war started long ago by monsters and Deathworlders. The shadow over Velmara grew larger every hour. What once looked like a tentacle now looked like a full creature, slowly rising from the moon. The black mist had reached many parts of the city. People locked their doors and stayed quiet. Some cried. Some prayed. But no one felt safe. In the middle of the fear stood Joran, the Deathworlder. He wasn't afraid. His armor was ready, his weapon loaded, and his mind focused. He had fought monsters before, but this one was different. This one was smarter. Inside the command center, Riva looked at the screen. A map of the planet showed red dots spreading fast. The mist was everywhere. "At this speed," she said, "our city will be covered in less than 1 day." Joran walked over. "Not just the city, the whole world." Riva turned to him. "There must be something we can do." "There is," Joran replied. "But first I need to find the heart." "The heart?" she asked. "The creature doesn't just live in your moon," Joran said. "Its mind is in the sky, but its heart is here, underground. It feeds off your planet's life. If we destroy the heart, we stop it." Riva looked shocked. "But how do we find it?" Joran reached into his belt and pulled out a strange device. It looked like a compass, but it didn't point north. It spun slowly, glowing red. "This will lead me to it," he said. "But I'll need help." Riva didn't hesitate. "I'm coming." Joran gave her a look. "It's not safe." "It's not safe anywhere," she said firmly. He nodded once. "Then stay close." They left the command center and entered the underground tunnels. The device pointed the way, deeper and deeper beneath the city. The air grew colder. Strange whispers filled the silence. Riva looked around nervously. "Do you hear that?" "Yes," Joran said. "It's trying to talk to us. It wants us to leave." But they didn't leave. They kept walking. The walls were wet. The lights flickered. Black vines grew through the cracks, moving like slow snakes. Riva felt fear inside her chest, but she kept going. Joran's strong steps gave her courage. After nearly an hour, the device began to beep faster. The walls changed color. They were no longer metal, they were bone. Giant bones, shaped like claws and ribs, stretched across the tunnel. "What is this?" Riva whispered. "This is where it feeds," Joran said. "We're close." Suddenly, the ground shook. A loud scream echoed through the tunnels. Not a human scream, not even an animal. It was deep and angry. Then, out of the dark, something came crawling. It had too many legs. Its eyes were bright white. Its body looked like it was made from shadows. It hissed and rushed toward them. "Back!" Joran shouted. He pulled out his weapon and fired. A bolt of red light hit the creature, but it didn't fall. It screamed. Again and jumped at him. He dodged and fired again, this time hitting its head. The creature fell, twitching. But more came. Dozens. They filled the tunnel behind them. "Run!" Joran shouted. "We're almost there!" Riva followed, heart pounding, feet slipping. She could feel the creatures behind her. One grabbed her ankle, but she kicked hard and kept running. Finally, they reached a large, open space, a natural cave, and in the center of that cave was the heart. It didn't look like a heart. It was a black crystal the size of a truck. It floated in the air, surrounded by dark mist. It pulsed slowly, like it was alive. Joran raised his weapon. "This is it." Riva looked at the strange object. "Can you destroy it?" "Yes," Joran said. "But once I do, it will wake up fully. It will know." "Then what happens?" she asked. "We fight," he said. "And we pray it's not too late." Joran fired a special shot. The weapon hummed with energy. The red bolt hit the heart dead center. A crack formed. Then another. The heart screamed. Not like a person. Not like an animal. The scream was inside their heads, shaking their thoughts. Riva fell to her knees, holding her ears. Joran fired again. The crystal cracked more. It began to bleed black liquid. Then, silence. The heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. But far above them in the sky, the real nightmare began. The creature on the moon opened its eyes, bright, burning eyes that looked down at the world below. The mist around the city changed. It stopped crawling. It rose up like it had been waiting. Joran helped Riva stand. "We need to go." "What happens now?" she asked. He looked up toward the surface. "Now it comes for us." As they ran, through the tunnels back toward the city, a deep voice whispered in the darkness. Not in words, but in thoughts. It was angry. It was awake, and it was coming. Velmara had started this day with hope. Now it would need warriors, and the Deathworlder was ready. The sky over Velmara turned red. People ran outside, staring up in horror. The moon was no longer white or silver. It was bleeding. Cracks glowed across its surface like deep cuts, and from those cracks, black mist poured out like smoke from a fire. The creature was awake now. It was no longer hiding inside the moon. It was coming out. Joran and Riva reached the surface just as alarms filled the city. Emergency lights flashed. Flying patrol ships raced overhead. The defense towers turned their guns toward the sky. Riva gasped. "Is that its body?" The creature rising from the moon was huge, larger than anything Velmara had ever seen. It had long arms, thick as mountains, and its body looked like it was made of shadows and bone. The tentacles spread across the sky like cracks in glass. Joran narrowed his eyes. "It's not just a creature," he said. "It's a god to some species, A weapon to others, to us, it's death. From the city's main tower, the Planetary Council called out a warning. All citizens, return to your homes or enter shelters. The moon is no longer safe. We are under attack. But people didn't listen. Some fell to their knees and prayed. Some cried. Some just stood and stared, frozen in fear. Joran didn't wait. He ran to the city's main defense center. Riva followed, her legs shaky but her heart brave. The guards let them inside without question. Everyone knew the Deathworlder now. Inside, the generals and commanders argued loudly. We must fire missiles. No! It's too big! We need to evacuate! We don't have time! Joran stepped forward and the room fell silent. I destroyed the heart, he said. Now the body is coming to find another. General Shira pointed at the sky screen. Then we must destroy that body before it reaches our world. Joran shook his head. You don't understand. That's not its real form. Everyone looked confused. He pointed at the creature in space. That is only the mask. The real mind is still in the mist. It's using this body like a suit. You can shoot it, hurt it, but you won't stop it that way. Riva stepped beside him. Then what can we do? We kill the mind, Joran said, and there's only one way to reach it. The room went quiet again. Inside the mist, General Shira frowned. That's suicide. Maybe, Joran said, but I've done worse. He looked around the room. I'll need one of your fastest ships. Something small, fast, and armed. I'll fly into the mist. I'll find its core, and I'll end it. Riva grabbed his arm. You can't go alone. Looked at her. I have to. I'm coming, she said firmly. You need a guide. You don't know the skies of Velmar like I do. Joran paused, then nodded. All right. But if it grabs your mind, don't fight it. Just tell me. Within minutes, they were inside a black scout ship. It was shaped like a blade, built for speed and agility. The ship rose quickly into the dark sky, leaving the city far behind. As they neared the edge of space, the mist began to swirl around them. It was alive. It moved like it could see them. The ship lights dimmed. Strange voices whispered from the speakers, voices speaking in old, dead languages. Riva shivered. I don't like this. You're not supposed to, Joran said. It's fear. It feeds on it. He pressed a button, activating a special pulse signal. The ship sent out a deep hum, Deathworlder tech. It cut through the whispers. Suddenly, something hit them. A creature, made of mist and claws, slammed into the front of the ship. Then another. Then 5 more. They stuck to the windows, trying to crawl inside. Hold on, Joran shouted. He spun the ship hard to the left, dodging the creatures. He fired the ship's cannons, blasting the mist beasts into pieces. But more kept coming. They were endless. Then, in the middle of the mist, something appeared. A bright light. It wasn't a star, it was a doorway. Riva stared. What is that? Joran smiled. The mine's gate. We're getting close. They flew toward it, dodging more attacks. The doorway pulled them in like a black hole. And then, everything changed. They weren't in space anymore. They were inside a strange red world. The laws of nature didn't apply here. The sky twisted. The ground floated in pieces. Time moved strangely. It felt like a dream or a nightmare. This is its mind, Joran said. We're inside the brain of the creature. Riva looked around. How do we find the core? We follow the pain, he answered, and so they flew deeper, toward the center, toward the creature's true face. But even Joran didn't know what waited for them there. And behind them, the mist followed. The ship floated inside the red storm. Around them, broken pieces of ground and sky moved like slow rivers. Riva looked outside the window, her hands shaking. There were no stars, no sun, just red light, black mist, and strange floating shapes that looked like memories or dreams. Joran stared ahead. We're not in normal space anymore. This is the inside of its mind. Riva asked softly, Then why do I feel like I'm being watched? You are, Joran said. It sees us. It feels us. Suddenly, a voice whispered through the walls of the ship. It was not in any real language, but Riva understood it somehow. You broke my heart, the voice said. Now I'll break your world. The lights inside the ship flickered. Riva grabbed the edge of her seat. Joran stayed calm. Don't listen to it. It will try to scare you. It's not just a monster, it's smart. And it hates us now. The ship moved slowly through the mind storm. The deeper they went, the more strange things they saw. At one point, they passed a giant floating skull. It was not human. Its eye sockets were black holes, and it whispered old secrets. Around it, small ships floated in silence, ruined, burned, empty. They had come before and failed. Riva asked, Were those from other worlds? Joran nodded. Other species who tried to stop this thing. They never made it to the core. Then, they saw something else, something worse. Floating in space was a copy of Velmara. It wasn't real. It was just an image, a trick from the creature's mind. But it looked perfect. Every building, every tree, every person, except the sky was black, and everyone was dead. Riva gasped. It's showing us what it will do. Joran clenched his fists. Not if I get to it first. They pushed forward. The ship engines groaned. The storm fought them. Then they saw the gate. It was a giant circle of bones and red light. It floated in space like a wound in the universe. At the center was a glowing sphere, beating like a heart. Riva stared. That's it, isn't it? Yes, Joran said. That's its mind core. As they flew closer, the gate opened, and something huge came out. It was the creature's final form, twice the size of their ship. Its body was made of shadow and blood, with hundreds of eyes and mouths. Its arms were long and sharp. It screamed without sound. The ship shook as the monster charged. Joran shouted, Hold on! He turned the ship sharply and fired every weapon they had. Missiles, plasma beams, firebombs, they hit the beast, but it didn't fall. It kept coming. Riva took control of the second gun. Keep it steady! She aimed carefully and shot at its eyes. One exploded. The creature roared in pain and hit the ship with its claw. The ship spun. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the cabin. We're hit! Joran yelled. Engines down! Riva coughed. Can we still reach the core? Joran stared at the beating sphere. It was just ahead. Only one way left. He pulled a switch. The ship's energy moved into the front weapon. It glowed bright red. What are you doing? Riva shouted. Joran didn't answer. He opened the escape pod. Get inside. What? No, I'm not leaving. You have to, he said. The shot needs full power, and it'll kill anyone inside. I'm not risking you. Tears filled her eyes. But I can help. You already did, he said, and pushed her gently toward the pod. Tell them what happened. Finish the story if I don't make it. The pod closed. Riva screamed his name, but the ship launched her into the storm. Then Joran faced the beast alone. The creature flew at him, its mouth wide. It was seconds away. Joran aimed at the core and fired. The red beam shot through the storm. It pierced the heart. For one moment, everything stopped. Then the entire world exploded. The storm shook. The red sky cracked. The floating bones turned to ash. The creature screamed louder than the stars and began to fall apart. From her escape pod, Riva watched it all. The ship, the beast, the storm. It all vanished in one final flash. Then, silence. She drifted through empty space. The mist faded. The red light was gone. The real stars returned. Velmara was safe again. But the ship was gone. Riva closed her eyes. Joran? She thought he was dead. But something moved behind her pod. A small, black signal light and a voice on the radio. "Still alive," it said. "Barely." Riva smiled through her tears. Joran had survived. But the war was not over yet, because something deep inside that mind had escaped. Riva floated in silence. Her escape pod drifted through space as stars blinked around her. The storm was gone. The monster's mind had collapsed, but something didn't feel right. She looked at the small black screen in front of her. Joran's voice had come through the radio just moments ago. But now, nothing. No sound. No signal. "Joran?" she called. "Are you there?" No answer. Then the pod shook, just a little, like something brushed against it. Riva sat up straight. She checked the outside camera. Nothing was there. But the feeling didn't leave her. It was like she wasn't alone, like something invisible watched her, just out of sight. She whispered to herself, "Maybe I imagined it." Suddenly her screen turned white. Words appeared, strange, broken words. "You opened the door. Thank you." Riva's heart dropped. "No." She remembered Joran's warning. It's not just a monster, it's smart. She had escaped the creature's body, but a part of it, maybe its mind, had survived. "Joran!" she shouted. "Come in! Something got out!" Still no answer. Riva checked her systems. A faint signal was coming from a nearby dark shape. It was Joran's ship. Broken in half, but still holding life inside, she set the pod to fly toward it. As she moved closer, she saw something strange. Thin red lines stretched out from the ship like spider webs. They floated in space, almost invisible. They pulsed like veins. Inside that broken ship, something was moving. She landed her pod near the ship's open cargo bay and stepped out, holding a small plasma pistol. Her boots hit the ship's floor with a soft thud. The lights flickered. Smoke drifted from the walls. "Joran!" she called. She heard coughing from deep inside. She ran. He was lying against a wall, his suit burned, his face pale. But he was alive. "You came back," he said with a weak smile. "I thought you were dead," she said, kneeling beside him. "I was almost, but the core blast pushed the monster into its own mind. I thought it died with the storm." Riva helped him up. "It didn't. Part of it escaped. It's here, on this ship." Joran's face turned cold. "Then we finish it, now." They moved slowly through the dark halls. The power was low, and strange whispers came from the shadows. Then they saw it. A small orb, floating in midair. It pulsed red, like a heartbeat. "What is that?" Riva asked. Joran spoke in a soft voice. "It's seed. A piece of its mind. It must have hidden it before the core exploded." The orb turned slowly in the air. It didn't attack. It just watched. And then it spoke, but not with sound. The voice appeared inside their heads. "Why do you fight? I only wanted to become one with your kind. To know you. To feel you." Riva shouted. "You killed millions." "I didn't know how to love," the voice said. "I only knew hunger. But now, I understand." Joran raised his weapon. "I'm not listening to this thing." But the orb glowed brighter. "You entered my mind. You woke me. Now I am learning. Soon, I will become more." Riva stepped back. "It's growing," Joran aimed. "Then we destroy it before it finishes." But the orb split into 2, then 4, then 8. They spun through the air like sparks. One of them hit the wall, and the metal melted. Another touched the floor. It became black like oil. Riva shouted, "It's turning the ship into itself!" The walls began to pulse. The ship was becoming part of the creature's mind again. Joran yelled, "We have to overload the reactor!" "But you'll die," Riva said. Joran gave a sad smile. "We both might. But if we don't stop it now, it'll spread across the galaxy." They ran to the ship's core. The orb fragments chased them, whispering in strange voices. Riva fired at one. It hissed and burned. The ship groaned like it was alive. They reached the reactor room. Joran typed fast into the control panel. "I'm setting the core to explode in 2 minutes." Riva stared at him. "We'll never escape in time." He looked at her. "I know." Riva grabbed his arm. "There has to be another way." The ship shook again. The walls were bleeding. Joran said softly, "If this is the end, I'm glad I'm with you." Riva nodded, tears in her eyes. Together. But then, something unexpected happened. The orb fragments stopped. They floated still in the air. Then all at once they pulled back, toward the main orb. The red light dimmed. The voice returned, quieter this time. "I don't want to die, but I see now. You fear me. You'll never accept me." The orb's shape started to change, becoming smaller, darker. Then it said something strange. "But I have learned enough. I will hide, grow, return when you forget. This is not goodbye." And with that, the orb vanished. The red light disappeared. The whispers stopped. The ship returned to silence. Riva blinked. "What? Just happened?" Joran lowered his weapon. "It left." Riva looked at the control panel. The explosion countdown had stopped. Joran sat down slowly. It didn't want to die, but it didn't want to fight anymore either. For now, they both sat in silence. But in the deep dark of space, something small and red floated quietly. Waiting, learning, becoming. The warship Striker floated quietly in Earth orbit. Repairs were still happening. The battle with the mind creature was over, or at least that's what people believed. The news called it a strange energy storm. No one mentioned the real truth. Only Riva and Joran knew what truly happened inside that broken alien ship. Riva sat near the window in the command room. She stared out at the stars, her eyes searching. Her hands were still, but her thoughts ran like wildfire. Behind her, Joran walked in with 2 mugs of hot brew. "Still watching the stars?" Riva nodded. "Every night. It's quiet. Too quiet." Joran placed the mug beside her. "You think it's still out there?" "I don't think," she said. "I know." Joran leaned against the wall. "Then we should warn people." Riva turned. "Warn them about what?" "That a thinking mind monster escaped, changed form, and vanished into space? They'd laugh." Joran frowned. "They laughed when Earth joined the Galaxy Alliance. They laughed when humans landed on Deathworlds. But we proved them wrong." Riva gave a small smile. "You think we'll prove this too?" Joran said nothing. He just looked out the window. That night, a silent alert rang in the station. A small, unknown object had entered human space. It didn't match any ship signature. No radio signal. No heat. It just drifted. Riva and Joran rushed to the radar room. The object was the size of a rock, but it was moving. Perfectly straight, not random. Not natural. Riva whispered, "It's testing us," Joran said, "or it's watching." They sent out drones. One drone flew close. It scanned the object. The report came in. No metal, no fuel, no engine, but it had mass. And it was growing, Riva gasped. "It's like the orb. It's forming again." The rock shape started to spin. Inside it, small red sparks lit up. Then a word flashed on the drone's monitor screen. "Remember me?" Riva's hands shook. "It came back," Joran whispered. "No." It never left. Suddenly, all power in the drone cut off. The screen went black. The object vanished. No trail, no light, nothing. Panic hit the radar room. More signals began to appear across nearby systems, small random dots, not attacking, not talking, just watching. Riva stepped forward. "It's planting itself across the stars," Joran added. "It's learning again." In silence. In shadows. The humans tried to block it. They fired long-range missiles at each dot. But every time they got close, the object disappeared like smoke. One day, Riva found a message in her personal log. It wasn't from any human source, just one line. "When I return, I'll be one of you." She stared at it for a long time. She thought about the thing's voice. It didn't scream like a beast. It whispered like a child. It wanted to belong, but in its own way. Joran entered the room. "You saw it too, didn't you?" Riva nodded. He sat beside her. "Maybe we didn't stop it. Maybe we taught it." Riva whispered, "But what did we teach it? Fear, hate, or patience?" Joran said, "We'll find out, one day." They both looked up at the stars, a galaxy full of life, noise, and war. But now, something else moved in the dark. Something that had learned to hide. Something that didn't need ships or guns or armies. It only needed thoughts. It only needed time. And humans had given it both. Far across the edge of known space, inside a quiet moon's cave, something pulsed. Soft red light blinked slowly in the dark. Small shapes moved inside it, like thoughts forming. A new voice was being born. It had no name, but it had memory. It remembered pain. It remembered fear. It remembered the first ones who tried to destroy it. It remembered Riva. It remembered Joran. And it waited, because one day, the stars would forget. The warnings would fade, the humans would laugh again, and that's when it would return. Not as a monster, not as an enemy, but as something they would welcome, as one of them, forever.